I'm working 14, 16, 18 hours a day doing this project, working for someone else's business. Something in me said, Tim, what the heck are you doing? At that point, it was the deliberate decision that I will now make of my life what I want it to be. But what do I want? I want freedom. Every decision from then on has been to one goal. Does this increase my freedom or limit my freedom?
Are you wrapping cars more than 12 hours a day, every day? Working nonstop but can barely get by? Burnout, missing deadlines, and wondering just how much longer you can keep this up?
That was us too. We started our wrap shop buried under $250,000 in debt, and it felt absolutely impossible. But we dug out, built a profitable shop, and are still in the trenches of owning and operating a wrap shop. We're here to share what we learned along the way so that you don't make the same mistakes that we did.
And we're here to help you with the business side of the wraps, like pricing, building a team, streamlining your systems, ultimately so that you can run your shop and your shop stops running you.
Welcome to the WrapOps Podcast, brought to you by Wrap Fam Unleashed. This is one of those episodes that's going to make something click for you. One of those moments where you go like, wow, I'm not the only one who feels this way. Today, we are sitting down in person at SEMA with the legend himself, Tim Evans. You may also know him as Rapper Mapper. Tim has been part of the rap world since the early days. I'm talking back when the industry was painting the graphics and then switched to printing. He is the creator of the global online directory, Rapper Mapper, which helps connect rap shops to customers all over the world. He's also the owner of Pro Signs in Columbus, Ohio, a master photographer who captures incredible shots at major industry events, and the creator of Raps Live. Again, someone who wears a ton of hats and is super important to our industry. But here's what I love most about Tim. Tim has built freedom into his life, something that I think all of us could use a little bit more of, especially me. I'm talking to myself here too. He has thriving businesses and still makes time for his own hobbies, adventures, and for his family. His biggest flex, he can hop on a plane and travel anywhere, anytime, because he designed his businesses to support that type of lifestyle. So if you're running your business with dreams of freedom, but somehow feel like you're tied down more than you were when you worked that old 9 to 5, this is the episode for you. So get ready for the mindset shift that you need to level up your business and be a better human. Hi, Tim. Welcome
Howdy.
to the podcast.
How you doing, Tanner?
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time. We're live at SEMA right now in a super fun cubicle, getting this done. So it's a great time. We're on the last day of the event. How's it been so far?
From us, absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
SEMA, I've been doing SEMA for years now, and it's always a great atmosphere, and like the combination of films and car guys and just all the stuff coming together, and the excitement is always just, it's Vegas.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So
and everyone's together. Like what a
Yes.
rare moment when you get everyone together. So it's nice. So awesome. So the biggest thing that I wanted to ask you about today, because I really want the listeners to walk away with something tangible that they could implement into their business and rap shop, is how you have been able to step away and create that place of freedom. And I wanted to ask you, are you staying in a hotel room or are you roughing it in a tent out in Vegas? Because if you don't know Tim, you're Mr. Outdoorsy.
Sure.
And you know how to survive with like nothing.
Well, I mean, yeah, I could survive with pretty much nothing. I wouldn't want to do it that way, but
Yeah, but you're prepared.
but I'm
if you had
prepared to do so, yes.
So yeah, and I know that from your Facebook where
Yeah.
you're posting like where you're camping and what you're doing. So I just wanted to ask you questions of, if you could start from the beginning, how did you enter the industry and work your way to having this level of freedom and being able to do what you want outside of the business realm of things?
Okay. Well, I mean, I've got almost 30 years in the industry, so let's not go through all of that.
Sure.
I started in the sign industry as a sign painter. My dad was a sign guy,
Mm-hmm.
so it was paint and brush and old school, sign craft.
Yeah.
And then obviously over the years with the invention of, machines, plotters and, a computer, and you could hook it up and, you could have a scanner and actually bring artwork directly in and like all of this
That's
stuff.
crazy that you've watched the evolution of it in such a short amount of time, really.
Exactly. I feel like I'm pretty blessed to be able to see it literally go from one generation and the way it was done for hundreds of years and just watch it transition into something.
Yeah.
Before my father passed, he would come to the shop and he'd look around and see the printers and all that stuff, and he would just shake his head. He was like, I don't get any of this.
Sure.
I mean,
And so kudos to you for adapting to it instead of fighting it and, it's never going to work.
There's no point.
You went with it.
There's no point. It's going to change no matter what you do, right? And I'm a techie. I love IT and I love new stuff and learning. I love learning new things. So I'll just dive right in.
And I think that's a key component of being a good entrepreneur. If you like to learn, you'll be just fine.
Right.
But if your ego gets in the way and you're like, I know everything, I don't need to ask anyone for help, then I think that's where
set ego aside if you're going into business for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no point.
So did your dad own the shop? Did he start his own shop and then you started working there and then the industry started changing? And then what was your next move after that?
Well, my dad owned a shop in Dayton, Ohio. It was called Logo Sign Company.
Shout out Dayton. Hometown.
He went old school. Like he came up through the sign industry as an apprentice through like an actual apprentice program.
Oh, okay.
So, when I was young, he came, he said, okay, if you want to actually have cool clothes and have anything of any value, then you're going to work for it. Like they didn't believe in, allowances or anything like that. It's like, if you wanted something, go to work.
Go get it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he told me, since you're the owner's son, you have special perks. I said, cool. And he goes, come with me. And he handed me a scrub brush and said, there's the bathroom.
I actually love that.
You start at the bottom like everyone else.
Yeah.
So literally everything from scrubbing floors to spray Latin faces to, hand trimming and screen printing. And then, he started teaching me how to hand letter and just literally from the ground up.
How old are you when all of this started? Did you start as like a little kid?
I made my first sign when I was maybe 8.
Oh, okay.
Or
gotcha.
9.
So you were starting young. Did you get paid for it or was it
I was selling
the kid?
Because when I said my parents didn't believe in allowance and just giving it literally was, here's $100. We're going to have school closed for the year. If you want any more than that, guess you better earn some money.
Okay.
So I had to get creative very quickly and become an entrepreneur.
Right.
So I was selling stuff when I was a kid at school and yeah.
That's awesome. Andrew has a pretty similar story of that. He was selling his honey buns in kindergarten.
There you go.
That his mom would pack them and sell them for money.
Absolutely, because everyone else was like, that looks good.
Yeah.
Maybe it is. Maybe some people are just hardwired to always just be looking for opportunity.
I think so.
Like they see it and they're like, oh, and their brain kicks in. Things aren't just, A to B, do what everyone else does.
Yeah.
Just the brain is wired differently.
He had it wired that way. And I joke that when I came around, it felt like I was like shackled to his ankle and he was dragging me through because he just moved so fast. And I had to learn, okay, I have to stand up and kind of run alongside him. So I think there's definitely like you're the hardwired to be an entrepreneur or those that maybe more like me that I'm like, I just had to be taught how to do it. And then it's a real shift in your brain going from kind of that 9 to 5 mindset to
because our culture is designed around that.
Yeah,
right?
It really is.
Even from kindergarten on, the education system is designed around get a job, get a job, get a job, get a job, get a job.
Right.
And is not designed around make the job.
Sure.
And which used to be the way everything was.
Yeah.
You were farmers, you were cobbler, you were, whatever it may be. You learned from mom and dad. Like everyone was a small business that all learned how to get together. And then, of course, the industrial age came in and now it was get a job. So
what is your advice for maybe the installer who maybe they own their own business, but it feels more like they have a job? So they're, they're booking their install. The business owns them. They're booking the job. They get the job done and it's just that on repeat forever. How do you get out of that cycle? What are the first steps you would recommend to someone that's kind of stuck in that?
The very first thing is they have to step back and recognize what's happening.
Okay.
That's hard.
Do you know the symptoms, maybe what they should be looking for?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, one of your very first symptoms is you look back and realize that you don't remember what happened 6 months before.
That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah, I'm laughing out of like guilt.
Because you know exactly what that feels like, right?
Or a year just flies by.
That's right. You've got nose of the grindstone and it's problems every day and you're putting out fires and you've got to make sure, like, these are all things that have to happen. They have to happen. Right. And our ego gets way too involved. And we think in our heads, I'm the only one that can do it.
A control issue.
Correct.
I'm the only one that can do it right.
I'm the only one that can do it right.
Yes.
Now, how arrogant is that of us, right? To think that no one else on the planet can do it the way I do it.
Yes.
Come on. We're sticker folks, right?
Right.
We're not curing cancer. We're not reinventing the wheel. But
We're not brain surgeons.
it's our business.
Yeah.
And no one can do it like I can for my business. Right. So it's hard for people to recognize what's happening and deliberately take that step back and go, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's think this through.
I'm
And
guilty
some people
of this
never do.
as well. I know a big thing Andrew always would tell me is like, can you get someone who can do it at your 80%? And instead of expecting them, like, if they didn't do it exactly the way I would have said it or done it, it's like, well, are they at least at 80%? Then that's
It's reasonable.
true. And then when you have the financial means to hire someone better than you, then that's obviously
That's
awesome
the
as well.
optimal solution.
Yeah, that's
right?
the optimal. But if you don't, it's like, can you get 80% off your plate of those day-to-day
Exactly.
actions? But keep going. I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. We're having a conversation. You can interrupt all you want. So step one is the recognition of what's going on there. Then step two is that deliberate effort to bring the ego down, right? And just realize, okay, if I'm going to take a step forward, if I'm going to make a change, I have to acknowledge that I am not the center of the universe, right? Now it's a matter of, okay, what do I want? What you want might not be what I want.
Right.
What I wanted was the freedom of movement, the freedom of, I wanted my life back.
Yeah. Instead of being tied to that brick and mortar building that you can't
Correct.
leave from.
Correct. And I have a little bit of a unique perspective on it because my father was a small business owner. And I saw growing up how that shop would run. And it was go, 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 work, work, work. Money would come in. And then they were so busy working that they weren't selling. So you had this roller coaster of cash flow.
Yes.
And it would go feast to famine. And, as the owner's son, the other wonderful perk was that if money was tight, guess who didn't get paid?
Right. Oh, yep.
So I hated that feeling, right? So watching my father go through that, and he was a really good sign guy. Not so great on the business side.
Sure.
Mom would take care of that. But then they would butt heads because dad would want to work and she'd be like, we got to pay the bills. And so learning from seeing that and going, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Right. But then I noticed, as I worked with him for a while, and then I worked for other shops. And eventually I got to this position where I was working for a company and we were doing the big project. I had my second daughter born. And one day I picked my head up and it was like a flash of lightning across my brain. I've missed the entire first year of her life. I have no memory of it.
Yeah.
I'm working 14, 16, 18 hours a day, doing this project, working for someone else's business. And I lost all of that.
Right.
And I can never get it back. And something in me said, Tim, what the heck are you doing? Right? Like you knew better, but you just blew the last 10 years of your life helping someone else build something that you have no vested interest in. And now you just lost that. And I was like, just something clicked.
Sure.
And it was, at that point, it was the deliberate decision that I will now make of my life what I want it to be. But what do I want? I want freedom. We all want freedom, right? People say money doesn't buy happiness. It doesn't. But it sure as heck can buy some freedom.
You could buy some freedom.
Right? So then that's kicked off a 2-3 year just hardcore for me, just reading and learning about everything I could. Business and finance and marketing and design and, accounting and legal and like all this stuff. Because I'm like, I'm out. And then from there on out, every decision from then on has been to one goal. Does this increase my freedom or limit my freedom?
I love that. Yeah.
If I take this job,
It's a good lens.
am I making the money? Do I want to?
Yeah.
Right. So everything is kind of through that lens.
Sure.
Does it get me to where I get what I want.
Yeah.
What I want is freedom.
And I think that prevents what you've probably heard of before, the shiny object syndrome.
Yeah.
Of,
And I'm guilty of it too.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, what's that?
Yeah, like
Ooh.
that's a cool opportunity. That's a cool opportunity.
Yeah.
But it's like, what is the path
And I still
ahead?
have that.
Mhm.
I still have multiple businesses.
Mhm.
I still have multiple things that I'm doing, photography and the wrap shop. And, I run websites and like I do party. Like I do lots of things.
Sure.
I end up in the woods for 3 days and but every single thing I do because I want to.
Yes.
I'm not forced to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's freedom.
Sure. We've had that happen in our shop in kind of little minute ways. Like one of them will be if we do lose an employee that, let's just say they were the only one on the team that could do door jams. So it used to be Andrew would say, okay, this customer wants door jams, we're going to sell it. But then I would watch him absolutely pull his hair out trying to manage the business and wrap these door jams. And I'm like, at the end of the day, this wasn't even worth it because we've made this customer mad. We're late. You don't want to do it. You're miserable. So now we've learned.
All for what?
Yeah, all for what?
Right.
We
You
could have
thought you were
sold
gonna
4
make
other
it
van
5.
wraps and have the rest of the team do it.
Right.
There's a different avenue to solve your problem.
And every shop's
just
a little
muscling
different.
through everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's something we learned the hard way. Or like when money gets tight, let's not advertise Chrome deletes because those are so tedious and small,
And not profitable.
and they're not super profitable.
Right.
So let's go towards that. And another one too was if you creep on our Instagram and TikTok back in the day, we were so obsessed with like, we need the likes, we need the follows. And I started thinking about it and I'm like, these are not customers, so it feels
These
cool.
are fans.
Yeah, they're fans, but
Right.
they're not, someone
writing
in
the
California
checks.
isn't coming to Ohio to get their car wrapped.
Right.
So if you actually look, our TikTok kind of just stopped because I was like, I have such a finite amount of time and putting it towards TikTok isn't what's going to drive the needle forward on what you said on getting that freedom. Like
Right.
this is kind of detracting from it.
Right.
So I love that you said that. And that's a really good lens of figure out what your goal is. Maybe you want to be a kabillionaire and that's your goal and you don't want freedom. That's great.
Right.
Work towards that. Andrew's a big one on, he'll be like, I want 20 shops. And I'm like, are we sure that that's what we want? Like, let's define what that means.
Well, then you ask the next question, right?
Mhm.
Why?
Yes, exactly.
Then you get that answer. And then you do the 7 whys,
Mhm.
right? You drill down.
Yes.
Find out what's at the core of what you just stated.
Exactly.
And it's very common that you'll find out it is not what you thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you actually drill down and figure out what that core was, you look at each other and go, there's a better way
Yeah,
to get there.
exactly. And you can do it with less friction and
Yes.
miserableness.
Greater understanding.
Yeah.
On the same page rather
Sure.
than I don't understand why you're going this direction.
Mm-hmm. And I think if you have a business with a partner too, that's huge, is always realigning. I would
It's
say
critical.
almost every quarter we're meeting and just making sure, like, are we still on the same page,
Yeah.
our goals? And you'd be amazed how many times it's like what our plan was 6 months ago and something happened and it just totally shifted.
Mhm.
And we're like, okay, this is what we need to be doing. It's kind of in the same realm of where we were going,
Sure.
but it might have just shifted course
But
based
it
on
doesn't
something
take
we
much
learned.
before
or,
the canoe's not going in the same direction
Exactly.
anymore.
Yeah. So kind of realigning every quarter has been super helpful. So what would you say is the importance of a wrap shop owner knowing their exit plan? Or just, their idea of
That's
what do
the
you want to do in
million-dollar
10
question,
years
right?
and 20 years?
Right,
Yeah. Versus
exactly.
looking at what do I want to do next week?
Well, you go right back to the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
First acknowledging that, maybe I should think about that.
Yeah.
I would say probably 98% of the people in the industry,
Mm-hmm.
there's no plan.
Yeah.
It's work till I die,
Yeah.
right?
It is. And it's hard to watch.
It is.
Yeah.
And usually the way that works, and I've seen it through the sign industry, I've seen it with tent shops, I've seen it with big sign shops, small sign shops, wrap shops. The owner goes and goes and goes. He eventually gets to the point where he's just like, yeah, I'm done. And 9 times out of 10, the shop closes up,
Yeah.
fizzles out, and it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially what that person had was they owned a job
Yes.
for 20 years.
And you can't sell that
You cannot
either.
sell that
So
because
that's a big
you're selling
point
you.
to hit. Yeah.
Correct.
You have to have something sellable at the end, and you can't sell someone a job. So what systems do you have in place? What team members do you have?
Correct.
Can you step out and it still be something?
Correct. And
So-
that can be difficult for a wrap shop because very often it's a mom and pop, a one-man show, maybe one guy that helps out. So you're not selling anything,
Right.
so if that's the case, that's fine, but be aware.
Sure.
Don't have this idea of what's going to happen, but you're not prepared for that.
Yeah.
So
Actually
you
know
should
what it
be
means to sell a
investing-
business.
Yes, exactly.
And I think to your point of educating yourself, if you are an installer installing all day, you can have your headphones in with podcasts in.
Sure.
I know that's been one of the biggest ways we learned when we were in the thick of it of installing is just like, let's educate the whole time we're wrapping versus listening to music the whole time.
Yeah.
So kind of being smart about what's playing in your ears is a good way. And knowing too that when you sell your business, that's not something that's going to happen in a month.
No.
You need to plan for that for, what do they say?
That's usually that's a multi-year process.
Yeah, it's a multi-year. So it's like once you have that thought pop in your brain of like, I think I'm done, you're already like 2 years behind.
Right.
Like you should have
Exactly.
been planning for it.
Yeah. Well,
So-
and the actual process of I'm going to sell my business, that might not be right for everybody either.
Sure.
I definitely encourage folks to, let's say it's just you or you have a helper. You're never going to get there. I'm going to sell my business. You're selling nothing.
Yeah, maybe
Right.
like a client list, if that.
That's not
but
worth anything.
Sure.
A client if you think your client list is worth something, it's not,
hmm
right? The only thing that makes that client list valuable is you,
Yes.
right? Because you're the one that built those relationships. And the minute you change that formula, that client list will evaporate.
Sure.
I've seen it happen.
We've even lost a few of our own clients that way when they've been sold.
Sure.
And it didn't matter how awesome we were reaching out to the new company. They're
Didn't
like,
matter.
we're already going with someone else.
Yep.
I'm like,
We already have a
oh,
connection.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that
exactly.
stinks.
So I encourage folks to make sure they're saving money, they're investing money. Maybe they're buying other businesses or
Yeah.
so there's all kinds of other ways that they can be. I'm a huge fan of multiple revenue streams.
Sure.
Money coming in from other things. If you've got all your eggs in just the one wrap shop basket and you haven't invested, you haven't grown your assets, you haven't you're already way behind.
Yeah.
You got to get ramped up and get that going.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. We get made fun of a lot, but I'll take this because we have a couple properties in our area. And so it's so funny because our friends are going out and doing whatever. And we're like, oh, we got to flip this rental. And they're like, what are you guys doing? You're not having any fun. And I'm like, we're going to have fun later.
Yeah.
So
Talk to us in 20 years when we are having fun and you're all broke.
Exactly. We lucked out. The building right next to our shop came up for sale and it's a fourplex.
Oh, nice.
And the owner walked in the front door saying, I want to sell the business. Do you guys want it? And you should have seen our face. We're like, seriously? So that has worked out really well. But yeah,
Well, the
just
checkbook, how
different.
much you want?
Yeah, pretty much. And we were able to negotiate a seller finance deal. So it was perfect.
Nice.
So you have these little nuggets that I think also fall in your lap as an entrepreneur. But again, my first question was,
So you fall in your lap, but you were prepared to take an opportunity when it came along. And that's where
And-
most people make the mistake is they're not prepared.
yeah, you have to be open to it and prepared. And then at the same time, we've also reached out a million times to different buildings and things up for sale and they don't go with us. And it's
Right.
just, okay, it wasn't a good opportunity. But a big thing to go back to our point of the shiny object syndrome is these aren't fixer uppers that are going to take our whole time. And I think that would have been a mistake we made 10 years ago. It's like, oh, this is a good deal. It's only going to require us to be general contractors for a year, as if we know how to do that.
We
at
know how
all.
to plaster, right?
So yeah, I was like building right next door and it was already rent ready. Like perfect. That was just an easy, get it posted online, get tenants in there, and then it was done versus trying to pick something that's so labor intensive,
Nice.
which has been something definitely learned the hard way. Because before we were I don't know, it was like there was no gauge of our time. We just had endless time. We're like, oh, we can take this on. And then I'd realize we're in the middle of 4 projects, angry customers, no personal life. And I'm like, something has to give.
Yeah.
So that
And all
lens
too often
is,
what gives is you.
oh yeah. Yeah. We had a business coach when we first started the business. And our first meeting, he sat down and he goes, when was the last time you did a date night? And we were like, oh, we're working. We don't have a date night.
What is this concept, date night?
Yeah. And he literally goes, I'm not going to give you any further advice. You need to go out to dinner. I'll talk to you after you go out to dinner. And that's
I
really
like him
stuck with
already.
us.
Yeah.
And he was just like, if you can't at least pull off for dinner once a week or something, what is all of this for? It's for absolutely nothing.
Right.
So that was kind of the building block too of realizing the importance of freedom and why I wanted to ask you about it. Because you do have some people that are just kind of nose to the grindstone, and I'll sleep when I die. And I've been that way, and it's
Sure.
tough.
Sure.
That was a tough
Especially
life.
when you have a goal and a passion that you're going for.
Yeah.
And people in our industry, people who are entrepreneurs and small business owners, they tend to be goal oriented, focused, and just go.
Sure.
But
Which is so good.
it's good. That's how you
But we
accomplish
overdo it.
things. You tend to overdo it, and then it's easy to lose sight of why. Why?
Yeah.
And for me, it was my child.
Right.
Like,
So is that how Rapper Mapper entered the picture, or what?
that
what
was a few years later.
That's later. So what was the transition? You were like, okay, light bulb moment. I'm not spending time with my family enough. What was next?
Well, so it was, I'm not working for these people anymore.
Sure.
I'm going to start my own place. And I'm still practical enough to know that, you just got to buckle down. You got to get stuff done. So it was a year and a half of just work my butt off. Don't pay myself anything. All the money goes back into the business.
Was this a start of Pro Signs?
This was started Pro Signing
Okay,
Graphics.
just
Correct.
confirming.
Yeah. So get that going. That's ramping up. We're starting to rock along and all that fun stuff. And then a couple years later, this was in 2014, 2015. This is our 10-year anniversary this year, which is why Christina did this awesome shirt
nice.
for our
Yeah.
10 years,
Very
right?
cool.
For Rapper Mapper.
So if you can't see his shirt, tune in on YouTube because you'll see it there.
Yeah, it's Christina, Curvaceous Wraps.
Yeah.
Just did. I was like, hey, it's 10 years. Let's get a really cool designer, and
That's awesome.
She just
Yeah,
came
she
up
does
with
great
this
work.
awesome thing. But the genesis of the idea was I'm looking for installers across the country and trying to figure out where they were in relationship to where their job was and the travel fees and like trying to figure all this out. And my brain just clicked and said, there's got to be a better way. So it was solving my own problem.
Okay.
Figuring out where they were, built a mapping system, fairly rudimentary at that point. I posted online on, I think it was LinkedIn, just said, hey guys, what do you guys think of this? And it just went,
Yeah.
and everyone went, well, that is useful.
Right.
And it kind of sparked, just the idea that, okay, I can build something that's useful to everybody. This is a way that I can give back.
Yeah.
This is a way that I can be involved. This is a way that I can help folks build something that they can just for free just go, boom, Boise. Okay, who's in Boise? There are 14 shops. Cool. Well, I want to work with a 3M guy. Click. Everyone else is gone. There's the three.
Yeah.
There's the 4 3M guys. Or just tools to solve my own problems.
And that was a huge jump in the industry.
It was.
Yeah.
Because before then it didn't exist. And now you can, there's lots of the manufacturers will have like a map system or something like that. Yeah. But still, even with someone who comes in, I am fortunate enough that most people are just kind of like, oh, cool. So it's like Rapper Mapper. So I think that's
You're now a household name.
I don't know about that, but it is cool that I go to an event and I get hugs and smiles. And,
I remember we were afraid to talk to you in the very beginning because I'm like, oh, there he is. There's Rapper Mapper. So if you've never talked to Tim, he's very approachable. You just shoot you a message and you're the nicest
grab
guy.
my butt or whatever.
Yeah, and that's almost
fine.
everyone in the
everyone
industry.
grabs my butt. Yeah.
So we've avoided that one. But so in regard to that, when it comes to someone who's maybe new in the industry, maybe just now listening to these podcasts and seeing people online, how can they get involved in our industry with, other installers, other people like you? Can they just shoot a message and everyone's pretty friendly? Or is there like a Facebook page they need to be on? Or what do you suggest to someone who wants more wrap industry contacts?
Well, one of the really good Facebook groups is the Wrap Society.
Okay.
So you have to sign up for that. And Neil, they vet and make sure that you're actually a wrap shop.
Sure.
So that's a great online resource for people to get involved in. I encourage people to go and look at various certifications because the certifications aren't necessarily about, I'm great at something. It's also a network.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're in the Avery CWI network, you tested with Justin, you trained with John, you did all this stuff and you earned your certification, but now you've been connected with all of their other
Yeah.
installers, right? So that those networks are important.
And you also meet people in those certification
Absolutely.
classes, which are
You
great.
meet, you learn from them, you start to develop relationships. Super, super important.
Yeah.
Shows,
Yeah, shows are huge.
getting out occasionally to a show, doing competitions. Right? We just did the Wraps Live here at SEMA, and that was 3 days of just gauntlet style,
Yeah.
timed and craziness but fun.
Sure. How can an installer sign up for that, say, next year?
Pay attention to the countdown.
Uh-huh.
So on the wrapslive.com, we put up a warning about 2 weeks before the signups open.
Okay.
And there's a clock ticking down.
Yeah.
And then when we open the signups, it's first come, first serve.
Okay.
There's only 12 per day. There's 3 days. And once it's full, it's full. So this year it was open and closed in 4 hours and 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah, that's
it's
awesome.
like you got to pay attention. And like guys now, they're like setting alarms for themselves to make sure they go in and get their app in.
But that shows you how popular it is to get in those. And it's also great content. I know Andrew posted him doing a competition first thing when he got here. And I think we had like 10 people message us about it. So people love to see you compete. And I think a lot of other
the
installers
manufacturers
don't know what
will
happens.
do it too.
Yeah,
right?
they'll
So,
post.
and when you
We
come
got
to the
tagged in
shows,
some things.
yeah, exactly. They'll they'll have a hood competition going on, or they'll do. I think Andrew did a fender over at the Avery booth, and so a lot of the manufacturers do cool day of show competitions, and that's a great way for new installers to come in and meet people and get some content created and do something fun and show off some skill. And
and also watch
great.
too. It's also great to watch, and sometimes there's cancellations.
Of course.
And they'll squeeze you in if they didn't have someone show up. So you can kind of like hover around some of the booths, or just ask, was there a cancellation? And they'll say yes or no.
What we end up with Wraps Live is, because we rarely have a cancellation, but I'll end up with like 3, 4, 5 slips of paper where people are like, here's my cell phone number.
Sure.
I'll be right over here. Call me if anything pops up. And it's rare, but like Andrew got totally lucky yesterday.
Yeah, he told
just
me
like
that you're
grabbed him.
like,
I was like, all right, you're doing it.
Yeah. And you typically also get some free stuff too, which is always cool. Some gloves and knives. And so we always take stuff back to our team after.
That's what I do. Same thing.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, grab the gloves. And then it's funny later on in the year, like a couple months will go by, I see someone with that glove on. I'm like, oh, that was a glove we got at SEMA.
Yep.
I'm glad they're using it. So that works out too. So if you could go back in time and change one thing about the way that you ran really any of your businesses, what do you think that would be, and something that we could all learn from as the listeners?
Well, I wouldn't change a thing.
Okay.
I think I've led a pretty blessed life.
Yeah.
I honestly think the only regret I've had in my life was that year.
That year. Well, that's pretty good. So we fixed it pretty fast.
I mean, because if you make different choices, you're not who you are now. Right?
Yeah.
Well, they say, a man can never step in the same river twice because he's never the same man. It's never the same river.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I've been studying too much philosophy and stoicism lately.
Yeah. One of my favorite podcasters is Layla Hermosi, and she always says, like, fear is an inch deep and a mile wide. So I think, to your point of that year of your life, you had that like gut feeling of something's wrong, and you followed it and ran with it, and you stepped in the water and probably found out it was an inch deep and a mile wide, but you did it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good lesson in itself of, if you have this gut feeling of this doesn't feel right, my business feels like it's absolutely, almost choking me,
right,
then that's your symptom. Like, you need to start educating yourself.
That's my answer then.
Okay.
That's my answer then. This is super critical. And you're probably going to give me a big old amen. It's be willing, be able to work hard when you got to. But pay attention to the debt. Do not get into debt.
Amen.
In my opinion, debt and a consumer culture and the financial trouble we get ourselves into trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to, buying things we don't need, putting money where it doesn't need to be put, that right there is the number one thief of freedom.
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree. You can live below your means.
Absolutely.
And be just fine. And I don't think, I forget who said this, but I was listening to something and they said they worked as a valet driver and they realized that when the person would get out of their Lamborghini or whatever and hand him the keys, not once did this person think, oh, wow, that's a really cool guy. They thought the car is really cool.
Right.
So it's like those things, that stuff no one really notices that much. And if anything, I've always found it's more cool to be like, I'm a business owner and I drive a 1999 Honda Civic.
Yep.
Just because it kind of shows some humbleness and it works.
And to that exact example, I'm a rap guy. I do photography. And at any point, at any time, I can hop a plane and be anywhere on the planet.
Yeah, I think that's super cool.
That, I think, is a heck of a lot more impressive and more fun than I have a cool car.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a big message too for everyone working in the car industry. I see so many people sink so much money into their cars and I'm like, but if that's your passion, if that's your end goal,
passion, sure,
then wonderful.
Sure. Yeah.
But if you're giving up
your
everything,
dream. Yeah. That's not my dream.
Yeah, it's not mine either. So I love that. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything that you would like to say to our listeners, shout out before we close out today?
Keep rapping.
There you go. There you have it. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. And we have an episode released every Tuesday. So we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thanks.